your employees know when you actually care about them, right? When your sales reps can tell where the money is being spent that comes in from the business. And we've always been just fully transparent.
Yeah, as long as you just take care of people and that's your number one priority, everything else will fall in place.
We're really trying to just elevate the expectation where the customers can tell that we have a better thought out system for their home, right? And just a better overall experience from start to finish. I hate solar.
Why you hate solar?
I think it's a very scummy industry. I think that's true top to bottom. I think that the distributors don't know the facts. I think that the sales reps don't know the facts. And I think there's a lot of really horribly misinformed customers.
So here at Proper Roofing, after spending 2 days with your team, amazing office. So brand new company, 3 years in business, still considered to be a startup. 3 years in business, very impressive operation. I want to hear the story behind the story. Like, how did you start? How did you get into this office? And what was the early beginnings? Because you're in Houston, one of the busiest markets in the country as far as roofing goes. Introduce yourself, and how did you guys all came together?
Yeah, so it actually started. This is a COVID baby. So Dan and I worked for one of the largest remodelers in the United States. I was a sales trainer. Dan was one of the managers as well, and we all got furloughed. So I think I was sort of more in denial about COVID than a lot of people. I thought everything would be fine and we would all just keep working. It didn't work out that way, and 3 months, 4 months, no good paycheck coming in. I really started, for the first time, just thinking, I think I can do this. I think we can do this on our own. I think I can do a better job than what's out there right now. Better for our employees, better for the customer, better value overall. So I think in October of 2020, we ended up just taking the leap and going for it. And that was the start. It was at home in our kitchen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have office first when you started?
No.
Kitchen table.
Kitchen table.
Kitchen table.
Virtually nothing. No financing, no office. Just going out, hitting the doors myself. I just did everything. I did everything solo on the weekends, worked 2 jobs. And
what did you know, what you didn't know at the time?
So I was really familiar with roofing systems, really familiar with roofing sales, roofing marketing, really ignorant about how to install the roof. No idea about what happened on the back end. I think our first ever project, I got ghosted by my installer. So I'm just sitting there without a crew and some materials, and it was a great customer, so she didn't mind. And we did a great job, but from the point of the sale through happy customer and navigating that world of the installers and how to have a relationship with them and the suppliers, the whole back of the house game, I'm completely ignorant.
Love it. I want to get the recipe out of you, how to build the team. You build it super fast. I talked to all of your employees, your marketers, your salespeople. People love working here. How were you able, what's the recipe to build a team, to build this culture? Because it's not an office, it's culture here.
Yeah, I think the secret is people. And I think that your employees know when you actually care about them, right? When your sales reps can tell where the money is being spent that comes in from the business. And we've always been just fully transparent, right? We want this to be your dream. We're not looking to get rich or drive Lamborghinis. It's actually truly not my dream. I actually get a lot of satisfaction from helping people, watching employees' lives change, seeing their paychecks roll in, and having a sort of a family environment here is really important to us. And I think it's just contagious. Most of our employees are referrals. We'll hire one person, they'll bring in 5 people that they know, and just word of mouth. And if you have happy employees that'll work hard for you, that really believe in the same vision, I think that's our secret so far.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you have the right people and then just keep cultivating that. Before we started Proper Roofing, I had gotten several phone calls from other people that are in the industry asking if I wanted to start a roofing company. And I told them no. I entertained the phone call, but I knew as soon as I saw their name come up, I wasn't going to jump on that. And then I got a call from Ken out of the blue one day, and he goes, "Hey, so I sold a roof by myself last weekend, and I think this could really work." And I was like, "Okay, well, yeah, let's talk." Because I knew who Ken was, I knew his family, I knew his values. And then that kitchen table conversation, I think the next day I texted you and said, I just quit where I was working. Let's do this. And he was like, "Wait, you quit your
I
job?"
couldn't believe it. I was like, what?
And I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna make this happen. Let's do it." And yeah, as long as you just take care of people and that's your number one priority, everything else will fall in place. That's kind of.
What are your roles in the company? What each one of you do?
Well, Leslie's the boss.
Yes. No, I think we have a really cool dynamic. So Dan is obviously like our numbers, financing. He's really great with like IT and computers.
I feel like anytime anything comes up and it's like, what's going on, or like, how do we fix this? Like, this is an issue. It doesn't matter who it is. I feel like my phone rings. It could be from the marketing. It could be from sales. It could be from admins at the front. It could be from install services. So I just kind of have like, I'm more of like a general manager, it feels like sometimes.
He's our engineer.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's, I mean, being an owner, that's kind of part of the job. You just got to be able to do a little bit of everything. I really focused on marketing and got that up and running. Then we're lucky enough to be able to get Gary to come down from Chicago and join the team, and kind of built him up into being a director of marketing now. So that role's filled. It's just kind of, we try to work ourselves out of a job and then look for the next thing to do, or the next thing that can be built up.
When do you guys stop?
When do we stop?
When do you stop? Because you're both at home, you're both at work. Does it ever stop?
No, it doesn't. So I came in, I was kind of just always like on the sideline, obviously just like kind of helping pick the logo, doing little things like that. And then during the summer, I started just kind of taking on projects, and then it became another responsibility and another responsibility. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I have a full-time job here now. So I guess I work here.
And she does more than that. She's actually, it was actually sort of surprising. So we met in a restaurant working together. She actually hated working with me back then.
Yes.
I was terrible to work with. So we met working together as friends, got married. And so actually, I know a lot of people say working with your significant other, is it weird? It really hasn't been weird for us. Leslie was staying home with the kids while we had so many young ones. And she was excited to come in and help. And I think it's been wonderful, actually. It's actually no problem. It's been nice. At least for me, it's been nice. I don't know what she would say, but I love it. I've had a blast, and it's nice also working with people you can trust. So like Dan and I have known each other for so long. Leslie's my wife, right? We've been together for so long, and so it's kind of weird when you ask what we do exactly, because all of us, because we were here from the beginning, and we've not been too proud to do anything. We just do whatever needs to be done. If there's a fire somewhere, it just depends on who's available or who's having a baby, or who can take it on. But it's really a team. It's one team, one fight. We work together on almost everything. It's really cool.
Love it. Houston is very busy, saturated market. How were you able to stand out from the competition, and describe the competition here, like how brutal it is, how competitive it is? Because I hear from some regions in the country like, oh, my market is competitive. Like everybody thinks their market is competitive, but Houston stands out.
Houston can be competitive. I think there's a hole in the Houston market with value, though. There are a lot of roofers in our city that'll race to the bottom, cheap shingles, cheap install, cheap price. There's actually quite a few companies in Houston too that are very, very expensive, extremely high quality, great install, big company, big overhead. I think we fill a hole where I know there is a lot of competition, but we really don't feel it. When we meet with homeowners, we get the same feedback every time. This is really unique. No one's ever done anything like this with us before. Like we go over each and every component so that they know exactly what to expect with the install all the way through the process. And if there are 3 or 4 bids when we arrive, that's our best appointment. That's our highest close rate. Even if we are slightly more than the cheaper roofers out there, most of the time the Houston market is open to us, and that's sort of been our goal, Dimitri. So in Houston, I don't know how familiar you are with like the landscape here, but there are companies like Buc-ee's, it's a gas station, or Gallery Furniture with Mattress Mac, he sells furniture. Specs is a liquor store. Those are those are very, I guess, low prestige industries, furniture sales, liquor store, but it's a local owner who really elevated the industry and had good value, good customer service. And now those are really, I think, our most iconic businesses. I think of Specs before I think of, some big Houston corporation or oil and gas company. And that's sort of our goal. We want to be that for the roofing industry, for home remodeling. We're really trying to just elevate the expectation where the customers can tell that we have a better thought out system for their home, right? And just a better overall experience from start to finish.
Love it. So what truly separates you? Like, what's your difference? Is it a communication? Is it actual jobs?
I mean, I would have to come back to the people. You've met our team and you felt the culture. So when we have the training that we do with our staff, I think is second to none. So once they get that training and they know what the expectations are, and then we just really hit it home that like these are homeowners we're working with. Like if somebody came into your house, like how would you want them to treat it? And just again, like thinking in a way where it's taking care of people and not just I'm taking care of you, but do you feel taken care of? That's probably the most important part. So just making sure those personal connections are there with every homeowner we meet with, every neighborhood that we're working in, and it's everyone. It's not just the marketing staff or the sales team or the homeowners, but it's also the install crews. Making sure those guys feel valued. So when we're asking them to do something that's a little different than they've done for other roofers in the past, they don't question it. They go, okay, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah, and consistency. Every roofer can get access to the same products. Everyone could probably call a great installer and find that, but we don't ever drop the line. So we're doing the same high quality roof with the same high quality installers with the same warranty every single time we earn business, rather than just sort of molding to whatever's in front of us, right? Just trying to say yes to the customer no matter what they want. Oh, you want a cheap roof? We'll do a cheap roof. Or you don't want a good warranty? We'll take out the warranty. We keep our standard the same, for brand protection. So we're not for everybody, but the customers that do want to work with us love it. They love everything about the experience.
You mentioned that in the beginning you did not have a crew. You did not know what you were doing on the back end. What's your roof look like today? What's the recipe for perfect roof at Proper Roofing?
Okay, so the recipe for the perfect roof would depend on the climate. So when we sat down to pick out our components to our roofing system, we wanted to keep in mind that what is really cool in Florida or maybe in Minnesota is not necessarily what you need here in Houston, right? We have different needs and different technology that we would want here as opposed to other parts of the country. So we really tried to keep that in mind, is to design a roof that best fits a Houston homeowner's needs. And in our market, when you walk around, it starts with the flashing, right? The drip edge, the part that goes across the perimeter of the roof. It's a really overlooked part of our roofing process in Houston. A lot of roofers don't replace it at all. They'll just leave the existing flashing, put new shingles on there. So we knew we wanted to bring a top of the line product to the drip edge in general, and that's what we've done with Quality Edge. They have I think it's the best product in the United States. It looks fantastic. It gives great protection up the eave. And
Shout out to guys at Quality Edge. Love that company.
Yeah, it's amazing. The other big things, of course, you want to have ice and water. Of course, you want to have a synthetic underlayment, right? Bullet boot, pipe collar protection. The sort of the necessities for a good roof. But the other thing for Houston is a hail rating. I would say 99% of the people that we visit with don't understand the difference between a 50-year lifetime shingle from a manufacturer and a hail-rated shingle, or what the value difference is there. And once it's explained, 100% of the people we visit with would rather have a hail-rated shingle than a 50-year shingle that's not rated for hail at all. Because that's where most of the roofs are getting done. You're waiting for a hailstorm, you're having hail damage the roof. And I don't think a lot of customers understand that a 50-year shingle, if you catch the right hailstorm and it's only been 7 years, your 50-year shingle only lasted for 7 years. It's not rated for hail. It doesn't have the same kind of protection. And I think that's one of the things that I think makes us stand out typically whenever we're giving people
I've seen a few more components. So your hip and reach is very different. What's the idea there?
It's being a stronger shingle, right? That double layer, the high profile. It's not just stronger, but the look that it gives houses. We have a lot of neighborhoods that have those 70 builds, They have kind of like the castle-looking tops to them, and when you just picture those shingles on a roof like that, I always think, man, this is going to look cool. This is going to look great. And that's ultimately what homeowners want. They want something that's going to, I mean, your roof is half your curb appeal. So when we can do something small that's going to make sure you never have algae coming down from your ridges. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a roof less than 3 years old in Houston that has copper in the granulars, so there's no algae on the roof, but they used a 3-tab on the hip and ridge. Algae starts growing, and then you get black algae coming down from the ridges onto the algae-resistant shingles. So it's like, really, it's an aesthetic thing, but also a performance thing. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the roof. I always remember driving, when we first started, we'd do a couple roofs, and I'd drive my wife through the neighborhood and say, I want you to pick out which roof we did. And I eventually caught on. She was just pointing at every roof that looked new, and then she eventually got it right. And I thought, okay, yeah, so that is our roof. How do you know? She looked at it and she goes, I don't know, it just looks better. And I was like, what looks better? She's like, the roof. And so I pointed out those hip and ridge shingles, and ever since now, when we drive by a house, I'm like, which roof did we do? She looks for those, and she's like, that one. And it's
as far as I know, you're the only one who's doing it. And for IKO, for those hip and ridge, I mean, everybody can get it, but no, how much money it cost? How much more did it cost to switch from regular hip and ridge to them per job?
Oh, it's I mean,
Couple $100?
Yeah, a couple $100. But that's what I mean when we said we designed the entire roof system for our market. We didn't just shop for a manufacturer, see what they offer, see what they could sell, and then go from there. We really went through every component of the roof and asked ourselves, is this the right fit? Would most people want this if they had the choice? What's the ideal? And that's one of the things that's really overwhelming for consumers is the options. Sales reps will come in with brochures. Here's the brochure. It's a whole booklet.
There's 3 different.
Yeah, there's 4 different shingle manufacturers. There's all these different options and components.
They don't know.
And they don't know what's best. They don't know why they should want something. And the roofer is usually advocating for whatever has the best chance of a commission for him, or the best chance of lowering the price to get the sale.
Or what he likes.
Right, or just whatever he prefers. And I think we've really designed a roof system from start to finish that's optimal for our climate.
yeah, it's the roof that we would want on our house.
Talk to me about intake and like, what do you do for ventilation?
Yeah, so it's part of our value. So part of the story that we tell our customers is that everyone wants to do the roof right the first time, right? When you're doing a roofing project, that's the number one goal. Make sure it's done right the first time. But that's the least you should expect, right? And if you're a smart shopper, you can get a lot more value out of your purchase in the form of decreased cooling costs in the summertime, better energy bills, state mandated discounts on homeowners insurance for having the hail rating. So this way, whenever you have the intake system, if you have good ventilation, you're cooling off the attic system, you have the hail rated shingle, instead of the roof being a one-time, spend where you just it's an expense really, it becomes an investment where every year your homeowner's insurance is $600, $800 a year cheaper. Your cooling costs are 10% less than they would have been otherwise. So it's an investment that you're getting paid back for, where you're getting to see the benefits.
What's your take on solar?
I hate solar.
Why you hate solar?
I think it's a very scummy industry. I think that's true top to bottom. I think that the distributors don't know the facts. I think that the sales reps don't know the facts. And I think there's a lot of really horribly misinformed customers. And I think it could be the future one day, but I think that most solar companies today are misleading customers into making a terrible decision. Would you give me $60,000 if I paid your energy bill for the next 20 years? We can make that deal. You write a check for $60,000 and I'll pay your energy bills for the next 20 years. It's a terrible deal on the face of it. People don't understand.
There's a lot of hidden fees in it too.
Hidden fees and reduction in performance. People don't realize the solar panels, you start losing the generation over the years. And the biggest thing, and this is my big concern and what really upsets me about solar, is they prey on old people, specifically people looking at retirement, and they don't realize that they're ruining their debt to income. We've had homeowners with 800 credit scores that would like to finance a roof that are getting declined because even though to their bill load, they're saving $100 a month, To a bank looking at their debt to income, they have an $80,000 loan, right? So that's their last home improvement they're going to be able to
I did
finance.
not think about that.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing to do to someone to sell them solar. I don't recommend it.
Wow. Class 3, Class 4, is there a difference in insurance discounts?
A slight difference. So I actually learned this from a engineer customer. He had, he's taking a bid. He has an Excel spreadsheet, all of these things, all these questions he wants to ask. And when he found out about the discounts from the Texas Department of Insurance, the first thing he did was call and ask what the difference was. But the difference in price between a Class 3 and a Class 4 was greater than the difference in the discount that he would be receiving from his homeowner's insurance. It's a very small discount, additional discount from what we've heard from our customers.
So it starts at Class 3, and then it's even better at Class 4, but not much better.
But not much. And that's what, when we said we wanted to be high on value, we didn't feel like the value was there, or else we would do a Class 4. But we just don't think that what you get in the form of that insurance discount is worth it for the price. So Class 3, I think, is the ideal.
Yeah, we always said if we were in a market like Dallas that gets hail more frequently and larger hail, then we would probably consider using a Class 4 rated shingle. But for Houston, you rarely get hail that's over 1.5 inches. So the Class 3 was sufficient for that and brought better value.
Why IKO Shingles?
IKO Shingles. So again, impressive technology. You know, the armor zone is really cool. But for me, one of the big driving factors was the hail rating and the fact that it's still an asphalt shingle. To my knowledge, and I could be wrong, but I think they're the only hail rated shingle that doesn't use polymers or rubber. And in Texas, when you're installing a Class 4 or any kind of rubberized shingle, it's so hot that the roof can melt and scuff when you're trying to install it. Or even when we leave, if you have someone that goes up to repair a dish or, maybe remove a dish or do some sort of repair, if it's in the middle of the day in the Houston summer, you're going to scuff your shingles, and that's not something that's covered by the manufacturer. They won't honor that in their warranties, and it's just a risk we really weren't wanting to take with customers.
And got to give some credit where it's due on our selection of IKO. I think there's a pretty big impact that this YouTuber, a channel called Roofing Insights, right? Did the reviews on the products, and when we saw that, we were like, maybe we should really look into IKO. We didn't know too much about them early on, but after
Dynasty is impressive shingle.
Yeah.
Like, it's truly, out of everything they do, it's a best selling. It's for a reason. I love it.
Yeah, we do the demo in the house with our customers where we'll do the nail test. We'll nail it. Yeah, we do a little board and we pull up competitor shingles and then let them try to pull up the Dynasty, and it's always very impressive.
Love it.
we do have a favorite shingle we like to compete against on that pull test.
Which one?
HDZ.
HDZ?
Yeah, IKO performs really well in comparison.
You love GAF, right?
Yeah. I have a question about your marketing. I noticed that you guys don't do yard signs. Why is that?
We have some. There's just...
We've gotten them in the past. We canvass the neighborhoods almost, every month. We're going to be back in that neighborhood. We just didn't see yard signs as something that would get us a lot in return. Maybe that's naive on our part.
No, I don't think so. We're not a storm restoration company. It's a retail company. So whereas a yard sign, if you have an insurance, claim and you want everyone to know that insurance is paying, hey, call me for a free roof or whatever. Most of our business is from retail. And there's a million ways we could spend money, door hangers, this and that. But we've set ourselves up where we don't have to depend on factors that we can't control. We don't have to hope that Angie's gives us a good lead or that there's a hurricane or a hailstorm. We don't have to hope that the SEO is on point or that anything's falling apart. If we have a bad month, it's because we had a bad month. Marketing, door-to-door, canvassing, doing things.
So that's your
the hard
business
way.
model. You only do door knocking, canvassing.
It's our people. We invest in our people because our people are so happy. They're so proud of our business. And so when they're out there, I can't tell you how many times when we're confirming calls, they were like, man, your employee really sold me. Like, I want y'all to come out because they are so passionate. I mean, it comes off almost like a cult. Like, our employees are so happy. People are like, is this genuine? Like, how much do you pay them? We're like, they love the company too. They're our best advertising.
They really are the best advertising. And I'm sure that there's other things we could add down the line, but for us, that's where all of our attention is.
So let's talk about that business model one more time. I kind of want to circle back and finish on the team, because I think you have an amazing team, and it's the true secret sauce here. How do you get there? How do you build a cult where people are so passionate? Like, what do you give them? What are they drinking here?
I really think I think from our recruiting, I think that our team, they are meticulous. You know, we have an exact, type of personality that we know is really going to feel at home here. And we go out of our way to
Can you
make sure.
describe the personality?
Much like the owner, we want them to be good looking, charming, great smile, hard worker.
No, I mean, it really is. It's a funny mix. I mean, I think our recruiting team just has a gift, but because it's eclectic, if you were to like line us all up, you wouldn't necessarily think, all of these are, the same personality. It's an inner, I always joke, like Kenneth and I, we're so different, but our inside, it's hard work. It's, a lot of, confidence. It's really believing in yourself. And it takes that person, like when you hear the resumes for people who've come in here, it's, we have people from NASA. We have, people who are about to go off to Columbia. And when you hear that they're going to door knock and you're like, that makes no sense. It really is. They are just passionate, driven people, and they just get behind it. And I don't know, our team finds this ability to, pull that out of people, I think, and really like develop them as leaders. And that's our other thing, is being such a new company. We really are, promote from within. We really put a lot into our employees because we ask a lot of them. It is a hard industry to get in and to really stay passionate, and be all in on your company. And I think that they know, how much we value them. And so they bring that energy.
Working for someone where you feel like you're in control of your own destiny, that you could blaze a path or start a division, and trusting the owners that they'll do that for you, or give you at least that opportunity, is a big thing, especially with millennials, especially with Gen Z. It's a lifestyle thing. It's not just about the comp plan or how much do you pay or does this roofer pay more. It's the mission. We're doing work in the community. Every single customer is sponsored by us for the 100 Club, which gives back to first responders, the police department. We are taking group trips together, like we have great culture, but really it's more about the opportunity. People feel shut out, right? Every door is closed. You feel like you get hired somewhere and you're just not qualified. The only way you can move up is by changing jobs, right? I've got family in oil and gas, and to get a promotion, you have to change companies. No, you're never gonna get noticed in a more and more corporate world. And here, they're watching people, begin a recruiting division, take over a phone department, give birth to an insurance division, right? And they're seeing that there are leadership opportunities, and that's really exciting. That's really exciting for the employees to know they have benefits, to know they have a 401k that they're going to be taken care of.
They're all employees here?
100% W-2 employment, yeah.
It's a hard work, a lot of denials. How do you prepare someone who is nice and smiley to that?
That can be difficult. A lot of the times there's usually a factor in there that we can tell this person's, even if they really want to be here. So let's say we hired them and brought them on, and it's just not working out. They have not very good numbers. We can look at all the metrics of how many leads they're creating at the times they're created, and we see large gaps. It's like you're not really working. You're just showing up, and you're happy to be a part of the team, and you're not earning commissions. It's like you've done this for 2 months now and you haven't made a single commission. You're just getting the base pay. That's not what you wanted when you interviewed.
So you do pay the base pay?
Oh yeah, everyone has a base pay, guaranteed pay plus commissions. And what we train for a good attitude is, do your kids, have you seen Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
Okay, you know Dory, the blue fish. We tell people in our group me all the time to be like Dory. Right? No matter how rude someone is, the next door, it's, hey, how are you? Having a short memory. It's really the overachievers that are hard on themselves. They don't understand the rejection. They think they're doing something wrong. But as long as you can keep it simple, keep it fun, keep the culture strong, the rejection really stops bothering you. It just stops being a factor because you know you're with your friends and people that have your back. That's probably the most important component to the success.
I think Ken and myself, we're generous people that love to help anybody we can. And I think that's kind of a part of the secret sauce that we might even overlook, I think because it just comes so naturally. But 7 o'clock at night, I get a phone call, Dan, my truck won't start. Well, where are you at? Tells me the neighborhood, okay, you're about 40 minutes away. Is it turning over at all? No, it won't turn over at all. I was like, your battery's dead. I'll be out there. I'm going to jump you. Leave my family. I get out there around 8 o'clock, jump his truck, tell him, drive the whole way home. Don't stop at a gas station and turn it off. The battery should charge back up. You may need a new battery if it's bad. Stop it out of zone. I don't know if I've ever worked somewhere where I could just call my boss and tell him, hey, my car won't start, or hey, I've got a flat tire, and he's going to show up to help me with it. He's going to say, okay, we'll put the time off request in, and make that happen. But I think it happens so frequently. Our staff comes to us with so many things that are going on in their personal lives that we're just willing to jump out and help them with in any way we can.
And then it trickles down to leadership too. They're doing the same thing without us watching. It's really important if you're going to deal with a lot of rejection, a lot of emotional roller coaster. You really need to have that team behind you because you just can't go. I don't think I could do it alone forever. I'm amazed at roofers that don't have a good team. I don't know how they stay in the industry so long. It's a tough industry. It's a tough grind. But when you're doing it with people that you love, that have your back, I think it just becomes easy. It becomes fun.
What's your biggest challenge right now?
Our biggest challenge right now?
I would say with the growth that's been going so fast, I think the biggest challenge, it's like how long do we want to just continue growing at a rapid pace, or is there a time to kind of level out and like refine what we have and then keep going for the growth? Is it just a process that just is ever ongoing? We're always going to be hiring and then we're always refining, or is there a time to focus on one over the other?
We really haven't run into any issues. So I think that's kind of maybe a little bit of a paranoid feeling inside, like maybe we're making a misstep. I don't know.
We're ignoring like some big red flag.
What do you think our biggest challenge is? I can't.
I think we're still building up a lot of different structures. Everything's just happening so quickly. But I mean,
every time a challenge comes up, it seems like it kind of falls into place. Like we're looking like this office is, we've got how many square feet here? 3,000 square feet roughly. It's like we're running out of space in the office. When we have all staff meetings, the place is packed. So we're like looking at different office spaces. Well, then the tenant next door says, hey, I'm looking to get out of my lease. Do you guys want to take on some space? We don't want to take on the entire, like they have that whole side of the building. We're like, we don't need all of that. But then management said they would put a door through the wall here and we could have, 2,000 square feet additionally. We said, perfect, right? Like it's I don't know. It's maybe it's just God's plan in our lives and our trust that we've put in Him. But like it just seemed like that everything just keeps working out.
Yeah, we don't really have any big challenges, to be honest.
Give advice to a business owner who is one-man show, never build a team, struggles to hire people, because majority of business owners say that hiring people is harder than ever, finding talent, attracting them to your business. Like, what would you advise?
Lead with vulnerability. Be authentic. People will invest in you if they feel like you really are being true to them. And I think that that's more than anything. I'm sure you've noticed, like, our employees, they all are connected. They feel like a family. And to us, that's most important.
If you want to add somebody to your team, you have to be able to coach them, and they also have to be coachable. So I would say it's really focus on just finding the right person and then be willing to invest in them. They have to be willing to be able to come to you with things that they need improvement on. Even if they don't see it, how can you open their eyes to the areas that they need to shore up weaknesses, even if it has nothing to do with work? Because if you have issues in your personal life, they're going to follow you to work. So having kind of difficult conversations, I feel like a lot of conversations we have, we always get together and we're like, how are we teetering the line with HR? Like, is this okay to have this conversation? Like, I know it's something personal in his life going on, but like, I feel like something needs to be said for his benefit. He needs to be coached on this a little bit. And sometimes those topics can be a little uncomfortable, but I think when we come at it with a genuine heart,
Yeah, I would say if you're a one-man band and you'd like to start hiring help, the first thing
Hire women.
yes, hire your wife. That's the best move you could possibly make. Beyond that, working with your partner, you have to learn how to sell, and you have to learn how to actually sell. Because without sales, you're not going to be successful. So I would say that's the first investment. Usually, one-man band teams aren't the best at salesmanship. They don't know how to work with people. I would say they need to make a substantial investment in themselves so that way they can pass the gift on to others. Because if you don't have the gift to give, you're never going to have good results. You're going to have to figure out a way to get good at sales, or to read the right books, or to go to the right conferences and pick up some different tools of the trade, because you can only teach someone to do something that you know how to do. Obviously, and if you're not that person, then it sounds like you need to have a business partner and not be a one-man band, and maybe just not be greedy with your ownership, and find someone who does have that gift. If you want to go quick, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together, right? If you're one-dimensional in that way, you need a business partner, and become more dynamic. It doesn't cost anything to give half your company away, right, to the right person. It's totally free.
Guys, I learned a lot. We traveled to over 50 companies, and this was quite an experience. Different flavor roofing company here. I learned a lot. Igor and myself, we've been talking behind the cameras. He was whispering to me, like, what is going on? We've never seen things, what they do here at any other company. You did build the cult, but in a very good sense of the cult. It's a good cult. Keep up the good work. Take care of those people. And thank you for opening doors to Roofing Insights. We appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you guys coming out.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
so
down.
much.
Thank you.